What if one day everything you knew, your home, your family, your traditions, was ripped away from you? What if you were dragged into an unfamiliar land, surrounded by a culture that did not honor the God you served? Would you compromise? Would you bow to the expectations of the world around you, or would you stand firm in your faith? Journey with me into an ancient world where destiny was woven by divine hands, and the story of Daniel and his three loyal friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, unfolds like a timeless epic of faith, courage, and miraculous deliverance. Stay tuned as we explore the journey of faith of the young Hebrew boys in a strange land and how they stood for their faith in God. If you love captivating Bible stories that will build your faith in God, be sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell. It all began in the year 605 BC, a time of turmoil and transition. The mighty empire of Babylon, led by the ruthless King Nebuchadnezzar, swept through the land of Judah, conquering Jerusalem and taking many of its brightest young men captive. Among them was a young man named Daniel, along with his three companions, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. They were taken far from home, into the heart of a pagan empire, where their faith would be tested in ways they had never imagined. Upon arriving in Babylon, Daniel and his friends were given new names, Belteshazzar, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, as a way to erase their Hebrew identity. They were placed in the king's palace, trained in the literature and language of the Babylonians, and offered the finest food from the king's table. To many, this might have seemed like an incredible opportunity, but Daniel and his friends saw it for what it was, a test. The food and wine of the king were likely offered to idols, and consuming them would be a compromise of his faith. Daniel and his friends made a bold decision. They resolved in their heart not to defile themselves with the king's food. Instead, they requested a diet of vegetables and water, a decision that seemed foolish to many. But God honored their faith. After 10 days, Daniel and his friends appeared healthier and stronger than all the other young men who had eaten the royal food. This was the first of many moments where Daniel's unwavering faith set him apart. Years passed, and Daniel's wisdom and integrity earned him great favor in the Babylonian court. But his greatest test was yet to come. One night, King Nebuchadnezzar had a troubling dream, one that no wise man, magician, or astrologer could interpret. Furious, the king ordered the execution of all the wise men of Babylon, including Daniel and his friends. But Daniel, with unshakable confidence in God, sought the Lord in prayer, and that very night, God revealed the mystery of the dream to him. Standing before the most powerful man in the world, Daniel boldly declared that it was God, not human wisdom, who had given the interpretation. The dream was a prophecy of the rise and fall of great kingdoms, culminating in the establishment of God's eternal kingdom. Awed by Daniel's insight, Nebuchadnezzar honored him and promoted him to a high position in the kingdom. But Babylon was a place of constant trials for those who remained faithful to the Lord. One of the most gripping moments was when King Nebuchadnezzar commissioned a colossal golden statue, a symbol of his own grandeur and the unity of his empire. The decree was unequivocal. Every subject must bow down and worship the idol, an act that signified allegiance to the earthly king rather than the eternal God. Standing before the gleaming image, the hearts of many wavered under the weight of choice. But for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the decision was already made. Their faith was a luminous shield that could not be dimmed by the allure of earthly power. When summoned before the king, they spoke with a conviction that resonated through the marble halls of Babylon. Our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us from your hand, O king. But even if he does not, We will not serve your gods or worship the golden image." Their words were a clarion call, a refusal to compromise their identity for the sake of transient comfort. In an act of defiant worship, they stood firm, even as the king's rage demanded a swift and terrible punishment. They were thrown into the flames, but instead of perishing, something miraculous happened. Nebuchadnezzar saw 4 men walking in the fire, the fourth resembling the Son of God. The men emerged unharmed, without even the smell of smoke on them. This divine intervention left Nebuchadnezzar in awe, leading him to proclaim the greatness of their God. The narrative of divine deliverance does not end with the fiery furnace. Daniel's own greatest test came under the reign of King Darius. By now, Daniel had gained immense respect and had been elevated to a position of authority. But jealousy stirred among the other officials who sought to bring him down. They devised a plan. They convinced the king to issue a decree that no one could pray to any god or man except the king for 30 days. Knowing this law was aimed directly at him, Daniel did not waver. He continued to pray to God 3 times a day, as he always had, with his windows open toward Jerusalem. Caught in the act, Daniel was thrown into a den of hungry lions. A stone was rolled over the entrance, and King Darius, who had been tricked into signing the decree, spent the night in anguish. But when morning came, he rushed to the den and called out, "Daniel, has your God been able to rescue you?" To his astonishment, Daniel answered, "My God sent his angel to shut the lions' mouths." Not a scratch was found on him, for he had trusted in his God. The story of Daniel and the 3 Hebrew boys are more than just a tale of survival. It is a testament to the power of faith, integrity, and unwavering devotion to God. In every trial, whether before kings, in the fire, or among lions, Daniel remained faithful. His story challenges us. Would you remain faithful when the world pressures you to compromise? Would you trust God even when facing impossible odds? Would you dare to stand alone for righteousness? This story teaches us that God honors those who honor him. It shows us that no earthly power is greater than God's sovereignty. And it reminds us that even in a world that seeks to change us, we can remain true to our identity in Christ. Here are some life lessons from Daniel and his 3 friends. Faith over fear. In times of great challenge, their unshaken faith shows us that trusting in God can help overcome even the most terrifying trials. Courage in conviction. The refusal of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to bow to an idol reminds us that staying true to our beliefs, even in the face of severe consequences, brings honor and strength. Divine presence in trials. The mysterious 4th figure in the fiery furnace is a powerful symbol that we are never alone in our struggles. Whether you face personal challenges or global crises, there is always hope and help from a higher power. Wisdom and integrity. Daniel's calm wisdom in interpreting dreams and navigating court politics teaches us the importance of integrity and the pursuit of truth in all circumstances. As you digest this remarkable story, here are some reflections. In what ways can you stand firmly in your beliefs when faced with overwhelming pressure to conform? How do you recognize the subtle signs of divine presence in your life, especially in moments of trial? What small, courageous steps can you take today to honor your deepest values and convictions? If you find this story inspiring, please take a moment to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more engaging stories and life lessons. Your support helps us bring these timeless truths to more hearts and minds. Let us know what lessons you learned from the story of Daniel and his 3 Hebrew friends, and share how you plan to live out your faith with courage and conviction. Remember, every challenge is an opportunity to let your inner light shine. Stay strong, be brave, and trust that you are never alone on your journey. May this story encourage you to reflect on your own life, to ask hard questions, and to stand firm in the truth that has guided countless generations before you. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history and faith.